Hello, friends. My name is Steve, and we're here today to discuss Berserk Volume 22. And Joe has the OG version. Very nice. It's the size, I think. I guess I'm so used to reading these deluxe editions that when you hold up the little, or when I went to the bookstore recently to look for manga, it's so small and it just feels weird. It feels like you're abusing the book. It's so little.
Did you just think I had a giant head all these other episodes?
I didn't have the scale. I didn't know how big the book was.
Joe's head is enormous. I've been accused of that before, but not in the same exact context.
Not physically, yeah.
Yeah. That's great.
So Joe, kick us off with an introduction and tell us about this new video that dropped today from Chris and the Fantasy Thinker.
Yeah, I'm JT Byrne. I'm author of Wistful Ascending, which is right behind me.
All right.
Yay! And several other novels in the Hybrid Helix, and a soon-to-come-out fantasy novel called Partial Function. Arcs will be available this week, so if you want an arc, DM me, and I will send you an arc, and you can read it, and then go, Joe, what were you thinking? Or say something else, whatever you want. You'll find me at jcmburn.com. And yes, so Chris Mohan, who, if you follow Steve's stuff, you probably know Chris, has read Wistful Ascending. He's actually reviewed it on his channel. And he was invited by the Fantasy Thinker to do what's part of a series on the Fantasy Thinkers channel of people talking about a book they like. And Chris chose mine, which was cool, super cool, and a complete surprise. I wasn't part of this. I wasn't I didn't know. It just showed up in my feed. I'm like, oh, I know that name. That's my book. Because it wasn't something I had, usually I'm involved. Like someone will say, oh, I want to review your book. So I'll send them a book. And then I'm aware that it's a possibility of this video. And they'll usually tell me, oh, I'm releasing this video, which this was just out of the blue. I'm like, okay, this is cool. So it was very cool to see that. And they talk about Wistful Ascending for 40 minutes, and it's super interesting for me to hear two other people talk about Chris's interpretation of the book and what he thought about certain elements. And I'm ready to jump in. I'm that's not, you'll find out in book 3 or whatever I wanted to say. Not that he's wrong, but just stuff where, of course, I know, well, what do you think this meant? I'm well, I think it might have meant this, but I'm not sure. I'm I know. I can tell you. So it's very funny to be sitting there as a passive observer watching the video. But they did a fantastic job, and it was super nice of them and kind to showcase the book, and I'm very happy. And so right now I'm doing final spell checks, proofreading of Partial Function, which is going to be my life the next 2 days when I'm not at work, and get that out. And I'm very excited because I think a lot of people who have heard of Wistful Ascending are a lot of the reluctance some people have to pick it up. I've heard good things, but I'm not really interested in a superhero story. And I get that. So I wrote a non-superhero story. I'm no excuse. You gotta read. I just want to point to all those people. I know you said you only read fantasy. Fine, here, I did it. I already have a book lined up where I'm the Dominish books. It's not really his thing, a superhero story. I'm going to write a fantasy novel and you're going to have to read it now. So I'm going to be pressuring everybody.
Is there a release date for Partial Function?
November 7th.
Nice. Okay. Cool.
Unless something goes catastrophically wrong. But the way things are lined up right now, I think that I'm supposed to have my cover this week. So I can't imagine it's going to take an extra month. I know the artist. I think it'll roll through.
Cool.
So a very good chance. Not the audio. I'm still trying to figure out how to pay for the audio. I'm in a cash-strapped state for the next 8 months. So fronting up I'm tempted to do this thing. So this is indie business stuff. But Dirk Ashton's super nice guy, wrote the Patronus a trilogy. He had a podcast for a while. Great. Also, just one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. And he said he made a lot of money on audio by having this trilogy as one audiobook. And people swarmed to it because it's good, but also for an Audible credit, they could get 3 books, which was 30 hours or whatever. And so the volume more than made up for the fact that he was only getting 1 credit for the 3. He was making big, and so I'm really tempted to try to front the money for books 2 and 3 of the Hybrid Helix and release that as an omnibus, the first walk. And I'm wondering if that'll pay for itself. But I don't know if it will. And in the meantime, I'm out like $6 or $7 up front to get the audio. So I'm like, I really want to, but it's not like I can just shake out my couch and get like some quarters and like, you know, there's not $7 in that couch. I checked.
You sure?
No, I looked. I really,
Maybe rip some
really.
cushions.
We had to move the couch. We took it apart. It's a sectional. We had to take it apart. I'm like shaking the piece. No, it's not $7 with the quarters falling into the thing. So. I'm sorry. It's a very long story. But anyway, that's me.
And Varsha.
Hi, my name is Varsha. What? Yeah, my my YouTube channel is Reading by the Rainy Mountain. I'm currently reading Return of the Griffin, among other books. It's a lot of fun. I should be reading The Crippled God, but I'm reading your book instead, Joe.
You should cripple God.
That's pretty high praise, Joe, considering,
That's pretty high praise. I'm honored.
Pretty good. Pretty good. So so Berserk Volume 22, I sort of been wondering, like, where is this going to go now? Like, Griffin's back. What's going to... So, yeah, I was a little bit surprised.
And he's part demon baby and part full demon.
Yeah, I was a little confused about that, about the baby. So...
Yeah. Does he have... Here's my doubt. Does he have hair much longer than he did before he ascended?
It's flowing locks, yeah.
Yeah. And it's far more curly, too.
It's
very dramatic.
But it's clearly meant to be like he's supposed to be recognizable. Like, people who have seen it, they're like, oh, that's him. And he looks the same as he used to always. So... I think the art is trying to capture something non-physical about how he looks. It's not a literal change in his appearance. Right? It's not a literal change in his appearance because people aren't like that. Looks like Griffith, but but his hair is prettier. Like no one's saying that. So it's almost like they're influenced on a subconscious level by what he is now, and it's portrayed in the art. I think because I was noticing that, and I wasn't as surprised because I've read this before. Was the only reason I wasn't surprised. Like I think I can see how it would be very surprising. We were talking about the baby the other week, and I was thinking that the baby wasn't incorporated into New Griffith, but then clearly I was wrong. I screwed that up. I thought somehow the baby was still separate from him, but apparently not. Or on some it's in there influencing him. I think that's super interesting. Will prove to be interesting. Give him this little bit of nuance of. A morsel of feeling, I guess, I'm sure will be explored.
Yeah.
And he doesn't call Guts daddy.
No.
Not yet.
Oh, that'd be funny if Griffith returned to life and started calling Guts daddy.
Hey, Dad. Yeah. Sod, get off Dad. Stop being Dad. Yeah, that would be hilarious, but I don't think that's how it's going to go. I love this volume. I thought a lot of interesting stuff happened. It was very satisfying. More questions were answered than were raised. Like, I thought the beginning it was very clear. Like, a lot of things were clear. Like, the very first chapter showing those kids in the forest, right? I think we're very much answers our question we had before. Like, okay, the world has changed. The world is different now since this. I don't know why it didn't change with the eclipse. I don't know why it took the celebration, the festival to change it, but whatever. I find that weird, but I can let that go. But the world has changed. We have a new world now. And they mentioned it before, but this is like a little more concrete. Like they mentioned that the face of the world, but sometimes people say the face of the world is changing. They don't literally mean, they mean it metaphorically, like a political landscape has changed, but this is very clear. No. On a metaphysical level or spiritual level, the world has changed. And the kids see Zod flying, and then we see Zod landing later in the same volume. Like, it just seems random here, but then you turn out he's going somewhere because he's got to stop Guts. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. Does that mean they can see demons now, or is Zod different from the others?
Well, people could always see Zod.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, they could.
right. So Zod was not like one of the little. Zod was something else, almost like an apostle, or was he an?
Yeah.
Like everyone could see apostles, right? Apostles would just be like sitting there ruling a town. Um, it's the like little guys in the corners that people didn't see, or the elves, little things,
Okay. Makes
right?
sense.
But now those little things are like moving more and like eating stuff. I mean, there's a very horror feeling in those opening pages,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the
right?
pictures of the forest, and it did get creepy. I wish, I was wishing for more forest, but we changed scenes. I don't know if we'll go back there, but
I think it's meant to be like. I don't think those kids are important. They're just making a point about the world has changed. I think. I don't think because we don't really get there. Well, we do get one name. Oh, maybe you're wrong. Maybe we'll see more of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is this the beginning of a new arc?
I think so.
Okay.
Hawk of the Millennium Empire arc.
The previous one was the Conviction arc, or was it an arc within the Millennium arc still?
I think this is a new one. I think the other one was the Birth of something arc, or the Birth, or this is the.
I just
the
moved. I have my own volume. To Wikipedia.
yeah.
Oh, but only if you've read it before, because I got spoiled for some stuff just by googling how long the Golden Age arc is.
No, I think it's a new arc.
Let's see. So volume 7. Let's see. It is the. Let's look up. It is the Conviction arc and then the Birth Ceremony chapter of that was volume 9 or volume 19. So I think the Conviction arc was the last arc. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a new arc. It feels like a new arc to me.
Yeah, it does. It does feel. You know, I kind of like that we had the kids and the different perspective. I think we need more. I think it would be nice to have more of that, like a different, some on the outside, and we get more context of how the world's changing for everyone else, and not just Guts and his people.
Yeah.
Band of merry men.
His band of merry people.
Merry people.
Wikipedia is calling this Falcon of the Millennium arc, but my book says Hawk of the Millennium. Is it Hawk or Falcon? Hawk makes more sense. But
Let me see.
Mine says Hawk.
Yeah, mine says Falcon. Interesting. Maybe Hawk was too on the nose.
Maybe.
Or maybe people were because it was Band of the Hawk. Maybe people were confused that it was. I don't know.
Yeah.
A translation thing, maybe.
Maybe. But then, if it's a translation thing, wouldn't the Band of the Hawk also be a translation thing?
It's true.
Or maybe they use different words for hawk or something in the original.
Dan would know.
Where is Dan? Damn it, Dan.
Where is that?
Where's Dan? It's Dan's fault.
I'm gonna go to Canada and start knocking on doors.
If we were really serious, we would learn Japanese so we would know the answers to these questions. I am not that serious.
No.
I always thought it was funny because when it says Hawk of the Millennium, I always think Millennium or Falcon. I always think Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, there's a Star Wars connection here. This is where the shit.
Yeah.
It's not. Pretty sure it's not. But it always makes me laugh to think about.
Oh, and just
Like Han Solo showing up and like blasting Zod with a.
Where's Yoda? Maybe the baby's just Yoda.
That's what Guts needs. Guts needs a Yoda on his back. Instead of they could fight with the little elf guy, Puck.
do you think Do you think the change to Millennium Falcon, or like Falcon of the Millennium, is to make it more appealing to a Western audience that already likes Star Wars? I don't know. Anyway, let's
Go ahead. Yeah.
we can move on to more interesting things.
That's correct. But maybe.
I was a little bit confused about the baby because Guts talks about a faint throbbing. These feelings must belong to that infant that fused into my vessel.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a little confused about what the baby meant to Guts and to Griffin. How it, because you see the thump a few times.
Mm.
I think I might have missed it.
I didn't get the impression that it means anything to Guts. Like, I don't think Guts is understanding that the baby's in there anywhere. Like, I don't know how he would know that. But the baby definitely knows who Guts is. I mean, the baby was protecting Casca, and it has some kind of awareness of its origins, despite being a fetus. And it definitely cared about Casca. It was protecting her. I don't remember what it showed for Guts. It wasn't hurting. It wasn't attacking him. Like, we saw it interact with Guts early on, but it wasn't like aggressive. I don't know if it was a caring thing or not. I don't remember from the very, very first couple volumes. Before the Golden Age arc, we see the baby approaching Guts at some point. But I think
Sorry, go ahead. I was saying the scene where Griffith thinks that to himself, it was when he was thinking back to when he was hugging Casca, right? I was wondering whether that meant that, he wouldn't have even hugged her at all if he wasn't part baby, or if it was because, or if he felt feelings of vague compassion or something that we haven't seen on the page, but he wasn't expecting to feel, because the purpose of his visit to that graveyard of the Hawk was to see if he still felt anything before he went off to get his kingdom again. So I guess maybe he did feel something when he was hugging Casca, and he attributed that to the baby, and so that he can still go after his kingdom.
Or you think maybe he was like lying to himself, that it's not the baby, that he just has these feelings, remnants still left over.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a possibility, I suppose. I kind of believed him when he said baby, but yeah, it's possible that he's lying to himself.
I'm sorry. I thought that's what you were hinting at. I'm sorry. It could be either, right? It could be that the baby influences him, or he has these feelings and he's just telling himself, "Oh, it's just because, as we all do, because I have this tiny baby inside me that wants to be there." Who hasn't had that experience?
Yeah.
Right? I thought it was super interesting, too, that Guts saying that when he saw Griffith, he lost his desire to kill him. You can really see the conflict in him.
Yeah.
Right? That this, and how much he must hate it, that this guy did such terrible things, and yet his anger at Griffith is not pure. It's still tainted by his old feelings of friendship. That's gotta suck. More suffering for Guts?
He was... we could already see him sort of contemplating not necessarily keeping his promise to Casca by trying to figure out a way where he could still go on his own and take care of her. It felt like, yeah. It's going to be interesting. We're going to see Puck's homeland soon.
Joe's just nodding slowly.
Something about that.
And we see a witch. The chick with the hat who did the astral projection and seems to know stuff none of the rest of us know. I think, is that her first intro?
I think so.
Or I feel like we saw her once before with
Was she the one that was I think in right after the ritual, right after the I think she talked about a prophecy. Was that the same person who we cut to her for just a few pages and she talks about the prophecy? Or I'm not sure if that's the same person.
I think so, but I'm not sure either. Where's Dan?
God damn it, Dan. Where are you?
Give me his new nickname. Goddamn Dan. No, I think we've seen her before doing something small, like something that didn't make a lot of sense. Like it wasn't affecting the plot. It was like they cut to her and she said something like, "Oh, I know what's going on," and
Yeah.
he left. But I do think that was her.
Oh,
And
who is this?
clearly, we're going to
Sorry?
see more of her.
Who are you guys talking about?
Yeah, she looks young though. I think the one we saw that talks about the prophecy and kind of like what's to come. I think she was older, or at least middle aged. This witch looks very young.
Maybe it's a different person. But it's like another important player, right? Like we have a witch. She can do magical stuff. She knows things. Like that's pretty. That doesn't happen all the time. Oh, and we got to see my favorite dudes get some fighting in. Dudes with the big knuckles. Oh, I love them.
With the big knuckles?
That's right. The couches. What are they?
The cushions. They're supposed to be Indian, but they fight like Okinawan karateka. They're all based on Masayama, like this very famous martial artist who was big in Japan at the time that Miura was young. But they even have muscular heads. If you look, that's not the best picture, but there's some shots of the backs of their heads where there's like lumps of muscle along their scalps. I'm like, wow, that's some serious training when even their heads are muscular, their skulls.
Yeah. There was some questionable translation from Sanskrit. I don't know if it was in this volume or the previous one where they called the black swordsman Kala Sena or something like that. Sena means army, not swordsman. But yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, those priests creep me out. I don't like them at all.
And then we see this guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was cool, sort of.
Yeah. Well, we see Griffith gathering his little band of he's got the knight dude and the guy with the super heavy armor and the weird shield, and then he's got Zod, and now he's got creepy three-eyed masked person, teeth on his chin.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're all bowing down to Griffith, right?
Yeah, and if this were any other writer, I would think that now Guts is going to have to fight these dudes one-on-one in like a little 2-volume arc and then reach his way to Griffith and then kill him in the finale. I don't think that's going to happen. That's what I would do if I were writing this. I would totally make it a boss battle. You've got your 5 bosses. You got, a couple volumes each. You got 15 more volumes sketched out. We're good to go. That's a career.
And tease all of it in the prologue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fight him one by one until he reaches Griffith in the palace, burning down behind him. Casca crying, "No, don't fight each other." It would be great. I should have taken over from Miura. Screw this guy.
Have you read any of the volumes or post Miura? Have you read any of them? Yeah, I wonder how different it is with the.
Have any even come out yet?
I don't.
Is it really?
I wasn't sure.
Is volume 12 of the deluxe edition by Miura? There was one that came out earlier this year, I thought. I don't know if that one was still translating Miura's work or...
I think they just announced the first arc that comes after Miura, but I don't know if those are the first chapters.
Well,
it's the first new arc. And they just announced that in the last couple of weeks that it was going to happen.
There's 14 of them on hardcover, and the last one was 14 releases November 21st of this year. So in 2 months or a month and a half. Interesting.
These have been releasing very slowly the last 10 years. 5-10 years, really slow.
We're almost there.
But there's a lot of answers in this, right? So we know Griffith is back. We know what he's doing. We know what he looks like. He's got a little band of beings together. They all look human right now, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
And then we find out the full backstory of what's his name in Farnese, Lady Farnese.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was a whole thing.
We gotta talk about that.
Mhm.
But I mean, how satisfied are you guys with the fact that Griffith came back and he still wants a kingdom? Like that felt like a weirdly big but too small of a goal to start with. But now after he's attained godhood and he's come back, I don't know. I'm not convinced that that's something worth all the sacrifice. Maybe it is for him, but after he's become a semi-god, he's back, and now he still wants his kingdom. That it threw me off. Like I don't mind. I'll still keep reading. It didn't bother me in any way. But I'm like, could we do something different? Maybe.
It kind of seems like small potatoes, right? It kind of seems like why, like he could have so much more than just that. It seems like he's aiming too low. Like he should have higher
exactly.
aspirations than that. But
Yeah.
No, the thing is that's what made the whole thing happen.
Mm.
He's this manifestation of the subconscious will of man, and what he wants, it's like the demon world doesn't have a goal. He gives it the goal. That he was chosen so he would say, they're like, oh, we're going to give you all this power. What do you want? And they weren't telling him you should do this. He's not their puppet, right? For the other four fingers of the God hand. He really is like, they're like, oh, do whatever you want. The whole point of you being here is so you get to pick what you want.
Mm.
And what's been his driving motivation? Why did he sacrifice the Band of the Hawk? For a kingdom. Why did he do everything he ever did? For a kingdom. He's better get his kingdom. Now, if he gets the kingdom and then he's like, well, now I'm bored, then he can do whatever.
Mm.
But he is so singularly focused on getting that kingdom. That's been his thing for his whole adult life. That's what got him through the eclipse. That's what made him make the sacrifice. It's got to be the first thing he does. Because otherwise, it's to show just how single-minded he was about that goal, right? Otherwise, a guy who would give up his goal because it seems too small wasn't really that committed to it in the first place.
Yeah.
And so he's got to go. He's got to get his kingdom, and then once he gets his kingdom, it'll be interesting, right? Because then it's like, well, what now, buddy? Because that's always the trick with those goals.
Yeah.
I think he's got to do it. Because that's his defining characteristic, willing to do anything for his goal.
Makes sense.
And if you suddenly drop that, then, it's not Griffith anymore. So,
yeah.
That was my take.
Yeah, that makes sense. I could buy that.
And then he's got the magical... Because all these people are coming to him because they saw, like, images or visions or prophecies. Like, that's where it's like all his associates are coming from. This one wants to lop off his head and make it his or her own. That always happens to me. Please. I love this person. I don't know
like
why.
the guy with the mask and is like a blanket with a mask on it.
Is it even a guy? Is it a girl? We don't know. But getting punched by the muscle-headed guys and just like oozing around the punch.
Yeah. It's actually kind of a cool character.
I don't know what that is. They all are. Yeah. I like the cushions. I wish there'd be a side story just about all these
Yeah, I thought
Topless brothers.
I thought the snake dude was really cool. Like, I loved the face he had, or like the helmet that he was wearing.
I wanted more time with him. He would explain who he is or make a big speech. I don't think he says anything.
Yeah, is his snake breathing fire? I just noticed. That's why I shouldn't read these things at 1 a.m.
I think the breathing fire, I wonder, I suspect that is, for now, it's like it's like Guts' cannon hands. It's some kind of mechanism built into his armor.
Yeah.
But then he'll be infected by, like, Griffith's magic and turn into an apostle, and then he'll really breathe fire and turn into an actual giant snake.
Mm.
You can see these being set up, right?
Mm.
He'll get some of the Griffith magic, and then he'll become an actual monster.
Mm.
And based on who he was as a person, it'll be fun.
Yeah, that should be fun.
And then Griffith himself doesn't do a ton except stab this one guy in the eye and then not get hit by any arrows.
Yeah, he let Zod do all his fighting for him, and now he's just chilling, and people are bowing down to him from all over the
Which
world.
is consistent. Like, he was never a guy who's like, I want to be the best swordsman. Like, that was never his goal. Like, he became a great swordsman because it helped him get his kingdom. He's very focused. I mean, that's beautifully focused, right? I think that's what's interesting. You know, so like, he doesn't have any ego about like letting Zod fight someone versus him. He doesn't care if he can beat Griffith in Guts in a sword fight. He doesn't care. Like, can he? Probably, but he does, you know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He cared before because I think it was a sign if he wasn't the best swordsman that maybe he wasn't going to get his kingdom. But at this point, he's not concerned about that. I think. The Hawk of Light.
Hawk of Light. What do you guys think of...
Now,
No, go ahead, Joe.
Steve, in all these translations, do you remember they call him the Hawk of Light? They're chasing the Hawk of Light. In all those lines, is it Falcon in your translation? Do you remember, or
You
is it
see
still
him
Hawk?
right by... It's the hawk. I was actually just on that page as you were asking.
Okay. So I wonder why... Okay, there's got to be something going on with why they made it Falcon in the name of the arc. But I guess we're not going to figure it out.
The detail in the artwork, especially in that little section with that battle section, just so much detail in that.
There's a lot of really good artwork in here.
Yeah.
And I like this guy too. Just you're never too busy for makeup.
Oh, yeah, the eyeliner. Yeah.
Yeah. If I've learned anything from my South Asian family, it's that makeup is important.
That's your biggest takeaway is makeup is, yeah.
I don't know if it's the biggest, but the you know, what does my wife say? Appearance is important, right? Like dressing up a certain way and putting on your makeup a certain way and appearing in public and like at a party, how you look, it matters a lot. Like I know my wife's family is like they'll do a lot of like a party where everyone has to like match. Like their saris have to match a certain color, and all the men have to wear a tie of a matching color or an outfit of the same. Like that's a very common, probably more than in my culture, where everyone just you go to every wedding, you just wear the same suit. You wear it every other wedding. You know, you don't buy a separate outfit in a new color because these people are getting married in like fuchsia. You know, but
Fuchsia.
that was one of my wedding colors was fuchsia. We had like 3. And yeah, it was a whole thing. Very colorful wedding. And my wife comes to a Jewish wedding, and she's like every single woman here is like wearing like the same color, like a little black dress or like maybe an off-white, but that's it. And then they go to like an Indian party, an Indian wedding, and it is not like that. It is dramatically different. Just the immediate visual impact is like
Yeah.
huge. Yeah. Varsha.
It's a lot of colors, yes.
It's a lot, but have you ever been to a white people function, Varsha? Go to like a white wedding, okay? Like a white person wedding. It's like you'll have like 4 colors in the whole place. They're all muted, right? It's like these are the people's outfits. The flowers might have some color, but the people will not. It's really weird. It's like, and I didn't notice it because I grew up like that. And I'm like, this is normal. And then I went to like a party, like a wedding on my wife's side, and then on my side in like consecutive like months. I was like, it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
So my point is, having your assassin with eyeliner on is completely culturally appropriate.
Yes.
I made that. It's not.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Yeah. What do you guys think of the fact that Zod is following Griffith around now? Were we set up for that? Well, that's not my question. I think it's a bit strange for me to see Zod as Griffith's pet almost after, he was such a badass in all the previous volumes. He still is, but now he's Griffith's pet.
Griffith cut off his horn.
Oh, he did?
Oh, I didn't notice that.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, there was a scene like 3 volumes ago where like almost in a dream, like a hawk appeared and cut off Zod's horn.
Ah,
And after Zod is like, "Oh, you beaten me."
interesting. I see.
So this is part of Zod's like warrior code, like the first person who can beat him. So like the Griffith is like, he's gonna follow Griffith now.
Mm.
Hope for a rematch maybe, but otherwise be his total slave, because that's a whole beauty of that archetype, right? That
Okay.
all that matters is fighting ability. Like that's all Zod cares. Like, well, I guess there's a lot of stuff in this book like that, right? They like these demonic creatures have like very single-minded.
Mm.
Griffith wants his kingdom. Nothing else matters. Zod just wants to fight strong people. Nothing else matters,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And that's what Guts' problem is right now, because he's torn,
Mm.
right? That is his maybe his weakness, and it may end up being his strength. That's what we're going to find out, because he's torn, because he wants to go after Griffith and he wants to be with Casca.
Yeah.
And he can really easily have both. So for the first time, he's not like these guys.
Mm.
All these demonic creatures with their single-mindedness. He's not in that camp anymore.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, he does seem to make the choice that he's not going to leave Casca. He's going to just run off and, for revenge, he's staying with her.
But he made it. Yeah, but he's also at the same time saying, "But I still want to go after Griffith. I'll just take her with me, even though that's probably not the best thing for her. But I can't leave her behind." But he knows he's half-assing it at that point, because if his single-minded goal was protecting and being with Casca, they would run off to Elfland somewhere and leave Griffith alone.
Yeah.
Right? So he knows he's not really committed to that, like he could be.
Mm.
I mean, I don't blame him. I'm not saying it's like unrealistic.
And there was a mention that 2 people with the mark can't stay in the same place for too long, so they almost have to keep moving. They can't settle down anywhere.
I think it's just because they attract too many little demon guys. Yeah.
And I do like when the blanket person tells Griffin, "You're lovely. Someday I'll lop off your head and make it mine." And Griffin just smirks. I think that's one of the few times he smirks or like looks kind of sort of happy.
Yeah, that's a good face. I'll lop off your head. See more of this singular dedication. I like your head. I want it for myself.
So I'll worship you until then.
Yeah.
No, I'll let no harm come to you until then.
Right? Because I can't let anyone else cut that pretty face before I take it for my own.
Mm-hmm.
And totally reasonable, totally understandable. We've all had these same feelings.
Yeah.
Just another way of saying I love you. That's all it is.
But just a lot of cool character designs that look like we'll have fun seeing them again. You got the guy who was good with arrows. You got the guy with the snake head. I love these things.
Mm-hmm.
I really like this volume. I just felt like it was very satisfying. Like, stuff was happening.
Yeah.
I really like the Farnese story with what's his name.
I forget his name. I always forget his name.
Think of him as Farnese's
It's Serpico. There you go.
Yeah. No.
Is it Serpico?
Or was Serpico the guy who was sleeping with the hooker, the dark-haired dude?
That was he had like a normal name, didn't he? The guy who was I think he had like it was like a George or something.
Jerome,
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where is he? We lost Jerome. Oh, I'm sure, Steve, you were crushed by the fact that the kid wasn't in there.
Yeah, I missed him. I missed his silly, goofy faces and him just getting in the way.
I don't think there are any silly faces.
There wasn't. There wasn't. And
volume.
Just not having the kid in this volume, that alone is like, I'm on board.
It was a really good volume. It was really good.
The Farnese stuff got dark.
Yeah. Yeah. That woman is crazy, and Yeah.
I mean, you can sort of see why he's following her slavishly.
Mm. And that was
I guess on
because he's
some,
protecting his little sister, no?
he's protecting his little sister, and she saved him, and there's that bond where someone makes you do horrible things. So if you leave them, then you're just the person who did the horrible things. But as long as you stay in their service, you're just the person who followed orders. Like it traps you. It's like you can't go back to a normal life anymore. Like after you burn your own mother to death, you can't just go back to being normal.
Yeah.
You're kind of you're committed. He's committed to her, right?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like it's almost like the mob where they have you they make you kill someone and then you're really one of them, like in mob, not in the real mob, I mean in like movies. I don't know if the real mob does that. I just for the record, I grew up in Brooklyn. I don't know. Despite I lived near mob people, but I wasn't part of the culture.
Okay, I believe
My
you.
grandparents had a neighbor who was in jail all the time because he was killing people for the mob. So I never knew the guy because he was always in prison. But when he was around, he would like throw chickens over the wall. So my grandpa had chickens.
Wow.
Because he ran a chicken processing place. Because that's what they used to do in Brooklyn before they moved all that to somewhere else.
Wow.
Yeah. Very tenuous connection.
Chickens.
Chickens. True story. I ate mob chicken when I was a kid.
That explains a lot, actually.
Yeah, so Farnese's story was nice and dark.
Nice and dark.
What did you think about that one, Varsha, with that storyline?
Yeah, I thought it was very interesting. Yeah, I didn't have reason to like her before. I like her even less now. Serpico, yeah, he's an interesting character. I like, yeah, it did get dark for him. He was interesting. Like, he seems very likable, but he's also made several decisions that feel very selfish, I guess. But there wasn't much he could have done for his mother. There was some justification he gave himself about what was that he can't save her now. I don't remember what his justification was, but it felt like he was rationalizing for having to. Oh yeah, his rationalization was that she wanted this life for him, his mother, but yeah. So yeah, that was interesting. I think there was a lot of gray and dark spots there that made it a very interesting backstory for both of them. What did you think?
What did you think, Joe?
No, I'm on board. What I find interesting is like, okay, so usually with a character, they're sort of being set up to be a villain, or they're setting up to maybe be redeemed and be like one of the good guys. Sometimes they're just going to be like a background character who just like gets like. But you have to imagine people fall into roles we kind of expect in books and stories like this, right? You sort of know where they're going to fall, and sometimes there'll be a twist and like they're going to be a hero, and it turns out they're a villain, and that's fun. We know. But with like Farnese, I'm having trouble figuring out where she's going to fall. She's not really like a good villain. Like compared to Griffith, she's just like not. She's not a good foil for Guts. She's not going to be like the big bad. Like she's just not. She's not enough to her to be the true villain of the story, right? That can't happen. She can't even really be a big obstacle for Guts. So I have to imagine on some level they're going to try to redeem her and make her like one of the team. And like it just seems really hard to see like oh, she was neglected as a child, so she became a sadistic, crazy person. Like, okay, like, all right. Like, oh, she was neglected. Oh, she had everything she wanted, but her daddy didn't pay attention to her, so that explains everything. Like, if you wanted me to feel really bad for her, like, you didn't do enough. Like she needed like Daddy to be like sadistic. She needed to be like molested, or I feel terrible saying that because it's a horrible plot line used for the sake of the narrative. I don't love that either. But like her horrible childhood was she had the run of this giant mansion and got to do whatever she wanted. Like I remember Varsha feeling like limited sympathy for Griffith early on, like, oh, he wants this goal and he's not going to get it, so he's going to be terrible to everyone. That's not enough for you to feel bad for him. That's how I feel about Farnese.
Yeah.
Lady Farnese. Like this doesn't justify the sadistic creep she became.
I was wondering though, I mean, I think with the Griffith line, they were actually trying to gain our sympathy. Here it doesn't feel like, well, at least to me, it didn't read as here you should feel sorry for her. It felt like here are more reasons to dislike her. Almost like I didn't feel like we were being set up to feel sorry for her. Maybe a little bit for Serpico, but definitely not Farnese. I didn't even go there. So I'm wondering if they were even trying to set us up for sympathy, but
I don't know. Maybe they weren't. Absolutely. But it's almost like she's being set up to be like another apostle. Except we're spending way too much time with her.
Yeah.
Like the other characters we saw who were bad, who became apostles or monsters, like demonic monsters, and we were dealt with, none of them were ever given as much time on the page as Farnese. So I don't think that's her destiny, but I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember. But it's interesting and it's weird.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's bad because like we won't really know if it's bad or poorly done until we find out what happens with it, which could be 10 more points, right? Like then we'll be like, oh, this is great, or oh, this wasn't good, but we can't tell yet. Which is an interesting character.
Yep.
I kind of I like that she's not going to be a big bad. Like she's not going to be. It's kind of nice just to have someone who isn't set up to be a major player, just someone in the world, and we're learning about them. And we spent time with her, but is she also a vampire? Is there like I wonder if they're setting up another archetype here, like because she bites into his arm, and they talk about.
I think that's supposed to be just a weird sexual thing.
Yeah, I thought it was maybe like some kind of bond or some kind of like control or like kind of like a vampire turns someone, kind of like that. Like she turned him into something, or I don't know.
I think that would be less creepy.
Yeah. It'd be her motivation.
Actually. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what her motivation was for following Guts. She lost her faith because the big dude died and then the church got destroyed. So now she's like the Black Swordsman. Oh yeah, I think she felt like the Black Swordsman can now protect her / the world. Yeah.
His voice made her feel like safe.
Yeah.
Leading them out of the battle with the oozing blood creature.
Oh, okay, makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't realize this was going to be the start of a new arc because like we left a bunch of people behind in the previous book, some of them abruptly, like that boy. And did that feel abrupt to you, the fact that he's just like, yeah, cool, bye, I'm done with this, after trying so desperately to be Guts' disciple? It's like the author decided, yeah, cool, I'm done with this kid for now. Let's get rid of him.
Heard from Steve, like, dude.
I built a time machine, went into the past and told him, please stop. Please get rid of this kid.
Please.
and then all the books change.
Earlier volumes, because if those volumes hadn't come out and you hadn't read them, you would have known to build a time machine and go back in time. So the only way to prevent a paradox was to let Isidro be in those just enough volumes to annoy you.
That's true.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad he's gone. It just felt abrupt.
I feel like he can come back. I hope I'm wrong. I don't remember.
Yeah. You know, I enjoy some Puck humor. This kid added to Puck was just a bit too much.
No, I don't mind Puck.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you. I agree. I don't mind Puck. But the kid was too much. I agree.
I think without...
Yeah, and the mom was just like,
Oh, I'm sorry. I think without Puck, I wonder, would it be too much for some people without that little bit of lightness? Would it be too much for some people without Puck?
I suspect that was the thing at the beginning. And you really need your lone hero. It's really hard to pull off without him having a companion to talk to.
Yeah.
Right? It's in the long walk for the dude drudging through the desert. But if the dude can drudge through the desert and banter with his little flying companion, it just makes everything, the writing so much. As a writer, trust me, you know, like you give the person a dog they talk to, and like all the scenes work better.
I was about to say, because in I Am Legend, there's just one character for the whole book, and it reads pretty slowly because of that. But there's one section where there's a dog, and those pages go by so fast. Suddenly, it's like the book has gained new life. So, yeah.
Yeah, because dialogue reads better than exposition, almost always, especially if you're good at writing dialogue. But like, it breaks up the page differently. Your eye flow throughs it better. You get better voice, and yeah, you can just talk to the dog. The dog doesn't have to answer. The dog can just lick your face every once in a while. And like people, it's just so much better read.
Yeah.
There's a dog in my new book.
Nice.
And I use it all the time. Like just
Partial function?
doesn't do anything. Partial function as a dog. Everyone loves the dog.
Okay.
Its name is Dog. I used a Stephen Wright joke to introduce the dog. But no, it just makes those scenes go so much easier. So I think he needed Puck, but like he doesn't need Puck because he can talk to Casca and he can talk to if Rickard goes with him, he can talk to Rickard. He needs someone because Guts just traveling by himself, it would get hard. Like just too grim.
Plus, he also needed to be healed for all the fighting, right? I almost wondered if, you know, when we saw that a little bit, the first chapter or something that Miura used to pitch the manga, I almost wondered if Puck's purpose is to be the thing that can heal Guts between fights so that he doesn't have to take months. He doesn't have magical healing abilities, so he needs something, or maybe that's one of his functions. But yeah.
Totally makes sense. Were there any other big mysteries in here? I feel like we got, again, more answers than questions. We know the Smith is dead.
Yeah.
That was no surprise. We had a pretty good fight with Zod.
It was a pretty good fight.
I like when he kicks the sword up out of the ground and impales Zod on the side with his foot.
I always like when Guts is fighting, there's always someone watching this like, oh, he's so, wow, I can't believe he did that. It's like, okay, I get it. Like,
Yeah.
Well, it's this very, that's another thing they take from all kinds of, it's probably in all kinds of literature, but it's a lot in Japanese literature, like manga and stuff. This whole, like, you know, if you live on the edge of death and fight like life and death battles constantly, you just become much better at doing them. You gain like this like awareness and this fighting ability that you can't get just from training in the school or from exercise, right? You get from actual life and death. That's very typical, like a theme in Japanese sword comics, like samurai comics or ninja comics. Very common. So you can see that here. He's saying sort of the same thing. Oh, Guts was fighting on the edge of death for so long, you know. Now he's become almost inhuman in his reflexes and stuff. When in reality, when you're like ground away like that, real people, they just get PTSD and become shattered like husks of what they used to be, right? Like training doesn't really work like that.
No.
But it'd be nice if it did, you know, we'll say. Aww.
I know,
So
the little
sweet.
Guts,
Oh,
or
yeah.
Griffith and Casca embracing. It's really weird to see that after what happened.
Yeah.
Really strange.
Yeah. And Casca had, was it tears of joy at seeing him back?
Okay, so look. That's her, and then they show her brand oozing blood. and then she cries. I think here, this is her expression at seeing and recognizing Griffith, which is some sort of wonder and I don't think she remembers her assault.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole point of being catatonic is you don't remember your assault. But I think she's crying because of the brand.
Oh.
Because it hurts. It hurts when it acts up. And it's clearly acting up, and then we see the tears. And here, we don't see that yet.
Oh, okay.
So I think the brand is reacting to... I don't know if it's reacting to Griffith or Zod or both.
Mm.
It must be reacting to Griffith, being so close to her. And then the sad part is, of course, once Zod goes into his final form, even Guts can't stop him.
Yeah.
But Guts is almost a match for him in his middle form, which is pretty impressive. Pretty Dragon Ball Z
You should cut off that tail, maybe. Then if he gave Griffith eternal service for a horn, maybe a tail will get Guts a bit more.
The other horn, Guts cuts off the other horn, but close to the scalp, and then Zod is like, "Well, all right, I'll follow you."
Okay.
You can both ride me.
Oh boy.
Sorry.
Boy. That took a very different turn.
I meant because Griffith was using him like a dragon.
You're not helping yourself.
But how is that innuendo?
It's going to be the name of the episode. You can right. Okay. People often say that Guts' relationship to Griffith was almost sexual.
Mm-hmm. The fact that Griffith looks very feminine in his new form does not help.
Yeah, he does.
That's funny in itself, too, right? He drew him as a very effeminate man. He didn't draw him as like a Chad.
Mm.
You know the meme with the Chad, the guy with the super huge jaw and the beard, and it's like exaggerated masculine attractiveness, but it's so exaggerated. He's not on that end. He's very much on the... And Guts is a butch-looking dude. Guts is not super pretty, but Griffith is. It's sort of interesting.
It is, yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what it means, or if anything, but I think it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you guys can think of from this one? Pretty good volume though.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I feel like things are moving again. I don't know if that makes sense. Even
Knuckle guys.
Knuckle
Love
guys.
the knuckle guys.
knuckle guys, shiny knuckles.
The Thomas brothers, small plates.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
No.
You're fine.
The conviction arc was just a lot of dread building up for one final event. I feel like with the Golden Age, things are moving. There's more. It's more dynamic, if that makes sense. So I'm enjoying it.
It's interesting because Griffith now is faced with an opponent or a thing to attain that's not really... Guts isn't really in his way. He wants his kingdom, but Guts isn't like King of Midland. You could imagine rewriting this story so that Guts had become King of Midland, Midland's being overrun by demons, Griffith was going to go take over Midland and save it, and Guts, as King of Midland, would have to defend it from Griffith. And you'd have this tension. You could imagine having written, but it's not. Instead, Guts is just unassociated with that. He's not really part of that dynamic. And Griffith is going to go after Midland or something, or some kingdom. I assume Midland because that's where he starts. But
he still wants Midland. I thought he killed a Raja, and so now he has a kingdom, and that's why everyone's bowing down to him. Didn't he kill that Indian-looking prince?
That's not the King of Kush. That guy was a leader of an army invading Midland.
I see. Okay.
Invading Midland. They were saying that we're in a castle in Midland, and these people aren't surrendering. If they surrendered, they would just be slaves. But as it is, we have to kill all of them, and it's really a shame. And so Griffith is liberating Midland
I see. Okay.
from the invasion. So I don't think he's got it yet. But that guy was not the king of the leader of Kush. That guy was a leader of that one army. Well, I remember you see higher ups from Kush
Okay.
in later places. I don't know why, but I remember that. So I'm sure of that. But it's
Maybe they had enough eye makeup to make you remember.
Yeah.
yes, yeah, more.
The eye makeup is the key.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they can't have color. It's a black and white manga, right? So they're all dressed very simply. So it's not an adequate representation of South Asian military forces. Yeah, that's what splash pages are
Yeah,
for.
definitely.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So, volume 22. So until next time. Joe, where can people find you if they want to get in touch?
Check out my website, jcmburn.com, my YouTube channel, jcmburn. I really haven't posted anything there in a long time.
You've been busy in your defense.
And I'm on Twitter like way, way more than I should be. And I'm on Blue Sky, and I'm on what's the
Threads?
other one? The Instagram thing?
Is it Threads?
Yeah, Threads. I'm on Threads, but really no one else is. So
Do people use Threads?
But I try to.
Do people use Threads? I've heard it was like all the rage for like 2 days, and then nobody talks about it.
Well, it migrated everyone from Instagram automatically, so it got an instant user base, so it sounded much more impressive than it was. And then it's fine, except they didn't have a web client for a long time, so you could only use it on your phone on the app. And I don't do a lot of social media on my phone because I don't have a keyboard. And I found much less traffic there than on Blue Sky. Blue Sky has been picking up for me a lot. But still nowhere near the engagement I get from Twitter. I had a Twitter post the other day. I'm getting like 20,000. I always get my tweets go viral when they mean the least. And I tweet something totally stupid and asinine. I get 20,000 views and like all this interaction. I'm like, it was like a question and like the third answer answered it, and then like 10,000 other people needed to weigh in on this. I'm like, okay, you can stop. It's really weird. I can't figure it out. Right. Anyway, yeah. Catch me on Blue Sky.
Nice. And Varsha.
You can find me on my YouTube channel, Reading by the Rainy Mountain. The About page has other ways to reach out to me if you're so inclined, and links to my podcast. And I'm, of course, always on the Patreon forum.
Awesome. Yeah. That's the best place to catch me too. So nothing goes viral there. I don't like, I don't have the humble brag, but I'm just teasing. So yeah. But anyway, until next time, we will talk to everyone soon.